And so here in Hebrews, we learn that without the shedding of blood, it's impossible to please God. Can I tell you that God has laid it out in his word exactly what it is that he's called us to do? And you know what I've learned? That where there is no forgiveness, there is no redemption. You can't be redeemed if you have not been forgiven. You cannot be brought back and reconciled to God if you have not been redeemed. And where there is no redemption, the Lord told Cain in verse 7, God told Cain in verse 7, you will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out, because sin is crouching at the door and ready to control you. Can I tell somebody that we have to learn to stop getting attitudes when God corrects us? We have to learn to stop being humiliated and becoming bitter when God corrects us. How about looking to the hills and say, God, what is it that you're trying to teach me in this situation? You can go to the point of elevation through revelation as opposed to deflation through humiliation if you simply humble yourselves before the mighty hand of God and say, God, what is it that you want out of my life? I know you thought you were doing it all right. I thought I was doing it all right. But when God puts something on your heart and convicts your spirit, an humble servant will say, God or Father, what is it that you're requiring of me? Somebody say, yeah. Somebody say yeah, because when we become bitter, sin just sitting at the door ready to crouch upon us. Sin is ready to be released in our lives. You see, every now and then we have to accept humiliation so that God can do the elevation. Some time ago I suffered from a bad tooth. I suffered from a bad tooth and I had to have it pulled. I went to the dentist and she pulled it. She had me to watch a video, and in that video it gave instructions on what to do and what not to do, so that after leaving her office it was my responsibility to read the instructions or look at the instructions so that I would know what to do post-surgery. I went home with a sore mouth, and after 3 days of continued pain, I called the dentist back to complain about the extremely uncomfortable pain. She told me to come back immediately. So I did. And she asked me if I had been drinking liquids out of a straw. I said, yes, ma'am, I have. She said, you didn't look at the video that I gave you. She said, what you have is called the dry socket. And what happens is in the dry socket that the blood can't flow in the dry socket. And I asked her, I said, how did I get it? You didn't look at the video. But right now, I can reveal some things to you that can get you beyond the pain and at a better place. Somebody say, yeah. Somebody say yeah. So I said, what is it that I need to do to stop the pain? Because right now, I admit I didn't look at the video and I didn't know. All I did was didn't chew on it. I didn't eat anything on it. But I didn't pay attention to the part about the straw. But now I got a dry socket because I'm a little ignorant and didn't pay attention. What can I do now to get rid of this pain that's in my mouth? And so what the doctor told me, she said what happens is we have to make an incision so that the blood can begin to flow again. She says I'm going to have to cut it so that the blood can begin to flow again. She said without the blood flowing, you will not heal. You will stay in pain and it will get infected because the blood is not flowing. I thought someone needed to know that today, that somebody in here or somebody listening online, you got a dry socket situation. You didn't quite know what the word said and you made a mistake that didn't line up with the instructions that God gave, and right now you're going through some pain, but you're at the place right now you're willing to admit, God, I'm not going to have an ugly attitude because I made a decision that's got me in some pain. Right now I just need to get rid of this pain And if you says that it takes blood flow to get rid of this pain, God, I'm ready. Somebody got a dry situation going on in their life, and what you need to do is let the blood of Jesus begin to flow in your life. Without that blood, you will not be healed. Is there a witness in the house? Somebody say, yeah. I heard a song that says, what can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. But here's the piece I like. Oh, precious is that flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And so somebody here today got to have the mentality, I might have made a mistake, I might have messed up, and now I got myself in a dry socket situation. I thought what I was giving to God was pleasing to God, and I got upset when I found out that God didn't want the way I was doing it. But right now I'm too bitter, I'm hurting too bad, I'm going through too much, when all I gotta let you do, Jesus, is cut me to let the blood flow. And so, Jesus, I stand here at this podium preaching your word. And if there's anything that's in me that's not like you, cut me right now. I want to walk in the power of the Lord. Yes, it might hurt when you cut me, but when you cut me, I know that I shall come forth as pure gold. Somebody say, yeah. If you're willing to go through a little bit of pain, God says, I'll give you much gain. But you got to change the way you think. And I need a sacrifice that might hurt, a sacrifice that may come with pain, but a sacrifice that will cause the blood to flow again in your life. Somebody say, yeah. Somebody say, yeah. Cut me if you have to. Cut me if you will. Cut me if it'll make me better. Cut me if you can use me.